What's up, guys? It's your boy Nathan Brother Bob here, or Nathan as you may know me, and today we're going to be looking at the free-to-play game, of course, Heroes of the Storm, developed by Blizzard Entertainment that came out on June 2nd, 2015 for Microsoft Windows and Mac OS X. Now, I know some of you guys are probably already thinking this is going to be another MOBA review, and I'm going to be making some heavy-handed comparisons to Dota 2 or League of Legends, but Blizzard themselves actually doesn't even refer to this game as a MOBA. They don't even refer to it as an ARTS. They refer to it as a online hero brawler, according to Wikipedia, and I don't really blame them for it because this game, whether you like it or not, you have to admit it does a lot of unique things and breaks a lot of boundaries when it comes to the genre. And I think because of that, it's definitely worth considering and worth reviewing as a completely different game from all the other games that people would typically compare it to. So rather than compare Heroes of the Storm to other games that are debatably within the same genre, I think it's best to focus on Heroes of the Storm based on its own merits. First of all, the things that I think it does absolutely right. The gameplay is fast-paced, it's fun, and it allows for that perfect level of customization through the talent trees without having to deal with a cumbersome item shop like you would have in other games. I think that actually works. I think it makes for a much more casual experience, you could say, but I mean that in the least offensive way possible because there's definitely a really heavy team play element that I'll get into in a little bit that is definitely there. But just at surface value, I think the game is a lot faster paced. I think the PvE objectives are unique but debatably gimmicky. I mean that also in a very the least offensive way possible because it keeps the game fun. So at its most basic level, when not compared to the other big MOBAs in the field that I'm really trying to avoid right now, the game is fun, the game is fast paced, and the game is very easy for anybody to pick up and try. So on those merits, I highly recommend anybody take a look at this game if they haven't already. Unfortunately, when you're looking at the game on its own merits, it's very easy to think it's a fantastic or at least very fun game, depending on what your subjective opinion is. There really is a sort of sour taste in your mouth that you get when you try to compare the game to other MOBAs, in my opinion. And to be fair, I'm going to say I'm a little biased here. I started with Dota 2, that was my first MOBA ever, which is considered by a lot of people the most flexible, expansive, hardcore, quote-unquote, MOBA on the market. But I've also played League of Legends. I've also played a number of other, arguably third-rate, second-rate MOBAs out there. But one thing you don't have in this game that a lot of people are going to miss if they're coming from a game like League of Legends or Dota 2 is you're not going to get experience and you're not going to get gold on your own. Now, the reason for this is, I think, that the developers went for is that it forces the team to work together because when everybody shares the same level on the team, which is the game design choice they went with, you are holding your team back when you do poorly in a way that doesn't exist in other games. Because if you don't get experience because you're dying in lane too much, your entire team will suffer because, they're not going to get the experience either. And the same thing goes the other way. If your team's grouping for an objective, you can't just go off and push a lane because, sure, you'll get some experience and maybe it'll help the team overall, but you're not there to help capture the objective and you're not there to help push that big PvE objective that's super necessary on, every map that I've played so far. So the thing that I dislike about that is you're never going to get that cool experience that you have in other games. Like I was thinking, for example, in League of Legends, you're never going to be that Fed Darius that's, walking around mashing Q and one-shotting people with your ult. That's not going to happen. You're never going to be that Fed Slark that jumps into the middle of a team fight, kills 3 supports, and runs away unscathed. That's just not going to happen. You're never going to have an item advantage over people, and if you have a level advantage, that's going to be shared with your team, so you're just going to feel, no more important than the person that's playing support, in my opinion. That being said, I'm only like profile level 14, I think, or something, so I'm very low skill compared to, I'm sure, most of the people who are watching this video and just raging out of their minds right now. All in all, I'd say your experience with the game is going to be largely subjective to what kind of games you enjoy. I can highly recommend, if you've never played a MOBA before, you should really give this game a shot, because if you've never had that experience that I just sort of described, you're not going to have an issue at all. You're going to jump in. You're going to love the abilities. You're going to love the team play. You're going to love working towards objectives, because MOBAs are, the most popular game genre in the world for a reason. They're addictive. They feed a lot of the gamers' interests, the various interests that different gamers have, all within one genre type. So, yeah, if you've never played a MOBA before, highly recommend. If you have, I recommend it anyway. Just be prepared to be a little disappointed. I give the gameplay aspect of this game a 4 out of 5. Moving forward here, we're going to talk about something that's a little bit more cut and dry, and that's the performance. Performance is something that everybody should care about just a little bit, whether you're playing on a fantastic computer with a 1080 or you're playing on, a dual-core laptop with HD 3000 graphics. I would say the performance of this game is pretty fantastic, like maybe some of the best performance of any free-to-play game I've ever played. I demoed the hero, Valeria, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, and I demoed it on my girlfriend's laptop, Intel HD 4000, quad-core i5. That being said, the laptop itself I think is, at this point, like 8 years old, so it was like, a second generation i5. So it's definitely not the worst laptop I know some people will try to game on, but it certainly is the worst laptop I would ever bother trying to run a game on. So I played the game at all low settings, 720p. I was able to average around 70 frames per second. As you can see here, I dipped into the very high 50s during the death screens, but I mean, you're dead. So yeah, I can't imagine that's a huge deal. On my gaming PC that I own, which is a 4790K with a GTX 1070, so pretty high-end, maybe not top of the line, but definitely high-end. I ran the game completely maxed out, 1440p, and I achieved around 180 frames per second. I'm just going to say give or take on that, because the point was I was absolutely killing it. Even if I had a 144 hertz display, I would still be killing it. So yeah. This game runs really well, looks really great, has some really awesome physics ragdoll effects. Highly recommend trying to run it on your computer, because chances are you're going to be able to run it. I give the performance section of this review a solid 5 out of 5 stars. Lastly, I'm going to go into an aspect of the game that is arguably the most important for a lot of potential free-to-play gamers out there, and that is the pay model. The pay model, in my opinion, again, this is my opinion, I'll talk about other people's opinions in just a moment, is kind of shitty. You grind out the heroes just like you would in any other MOBA, but I'm not trying to compare this to other MOBAs. I'm trying to compare this to free-to-play games in general. I'm going to set the bar fairly high here when I say you shouldn't have to pay for heroes. When it comes to developing a game, whether it be an ARTS, a MOBA, or a hero brawler, as Blizzard calls it, I don't think heroes should be charged for. Now, I'm only saying that maybe because I got spoiled by Dota, but I think there's always going to be some inherent design conflicts when you're trying to push out that new hero and you want it to be fun, you want it to be strong, you want it to be desirable to the point where people feel the need to obtain that hero so they can either remain competitively viable, get some free ranked points, or just, play the new hero because they look OP, for lack of a better word. That's why I have to say heroes should never be paid for. I mean, I have to count that as a negative regardless of how good the in-game grinding system is. Speaking of the in-game grinding system, I found a lot of different opinions on whether or not the in-game grinding system is good or bad. I personally thought, I played the game. I couldn't find anything that would tell me how many hours I played the game. I tried to use HOTS logs, and that gave me only, the last 8 games I played. Didn't count any of the games I played in beta, which was at least a couple dozen. So I don't know. I feel like I've played the game for maybe 30 hours, might be more, might be less. I feel like the gold system is very grindy. I feel like you get very little gold per win. You get gold for doing quests that you may or may not want to do. You get gold for leveling up heroes that you may or may not want to level. You get gold for leveling up your account, which is great, but once you hit that max account level, I can't imagine you get any more gold. I made a post on the subreddit asking about this, and of course, as friendly people are on Reddit, I was immediately met with negative karma and actually a bunch of reasonable responses, which is kind of funny in my opinion. But A lot of people seem to think it's very easy to get the heroes that you need, but it seemed a very common consensus that folks thought you didn't need all the heroes, which in my opinion, if you don't need all the heroes, why are all the heroes there in the first place? Just for you to want them? I don't know. I don't think gating gameplay contents in a free-to-play game makes for a good free-to-play game any percentage of the time. I think it's kind of unexcusable. There's a really nice cosmetic shop. The cosmetic shop offers legendary skins, epic skins, your classic WoW rarities of skins, and they aren't that expensive. The nicest skins are actually only $15. Compare that to like a League of Legends or a Dota 2 skin. I don't know how much they charge in League or even Dota these days, but I know I've seen skins for over $30 in both of those games before. So that's pretty cool, and the skins look very nice because the graphics in that game are very nice. The game is released recently, and it absolutely shows. So, all in all, the pay system, I would argue, in my opinion, is a little dated, and it costs a lot of real money. I wouldn't recommend spending real money on the heroes in this game. They are very expensive. Even when bought in a bundle, they can run you like $20 for like 8 heroes, and that's a bundle. If you're buying them individually, the newest heroes can cost $10. The oldest heroes can cost $4. Still pretty pricey. So, I have a quote here from a guy on Reddit. Let me see if I can pull this up here. I didn't put his name, but I'll put it up here. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I'll put it up here. And he says, with playing 2 to 3 hours a day, I'd estimate they'd be halfway to the roster in like 4 months. 17k from brawls, 25k from hero leveling, 16k from account leveling, and 44k from daily quests, and 13k from match themselves, not counting spins, and inevitable events will add some more. So this person's saying you could get about half the heroes in 4 months of playing 2 to 3 hours a day. He thinks this is a positive, I think. That was the gist I was getting. He also said that he's kind of mad that the gold prices have actually gone up on average, not gone down, so it doesn't sound like things are getting better. But yeah, I gotta say the pay model seems grindy at face value, and maybe if this was your only game you would have no issue with it, but I'm not the kind of guy that plays only one game at a time right now, so I can't really get behind this pay model. All in all, I'd say the pay model in this game is not great. I'd say unless it's your everything game and it's the only game you plan on playing, you're going to have a little bit of trouble unlocking the heroes you want. I'd say in general, pay models that charge for gameplay are just really bad for free-to-play games in general. So I'm going to have to give this game a very subpar 2.5 out of 5 stars for its pay model. Now it's time for the composite score of my review. While the gameplay itself is fantastic and the performance is even better, the cash shop leaves kind of a sour taste in my mouth. So for those of you that have been following along with the math, it should come no surprise to you that I'm going to give Heroes of the Storm a respectable 3.8 out of 5 stars. If you liked what you heard today and are interested in hearing more reviews of free-to-play games coming in the future, feel free to drop a like and a subscribe for me. And if you're interested in telling me how wrong I was, or potentially how right I was, or even recommend new games for me to play, I would love to hear those, and feel free to leave them in the comments section. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.